Hi, everyone. My name's Hannah Petraka. I'm currently serving as the Public Information Officer at the Cabell-Huntington Health Department, which means that I am in charge of distributing public information. We're going to be talking with Thomas Bowen, who has a large crew of kiddos, and he's going to be sharing with us a little bit about how his family has been able to stay sane through these challenging times. Thomas?
Hi, Hannah, and thanks for inviting me to join you guys. Like a lot of folks, we've been pinned down as a family. And when I say a family, a big family, there are 5 kids under this roof with my wife and I. And when the pandemic hit, my doctors contacted me to say, look, because of some serious underlying health conditions that you have, you need to really keep yourself removed and stay at home as much as possible. So, we had to work quickly to figure out how do we adjust to this new life with the kids being all kind of pinned down with us. And it's been quite a journey, but we've been able to make it.
So you have shared some really fun things that you and your family have been doing over these last several months with me. And I would love for you to share a little bit about what that's looked like, how you've been able to keep the kids entertained and not fighting with one another.
Well, I don't know that we've been able to keep them completely from fighting one another, but we've done our best. And, I think for us, we had to make a choice that this isn't going to define us or kind of break our spirit. I think Jennifer and I worked hard together to be intentional in finding things that we can do as a family, things that would be memorable. We thought we don't want them when they're 20 years down the road to look back on this and only have a really negative impression. There's a lot of difficult things that folks are facing, that we're facing by being kind of pinned down like this. So for us, we worked at finding ways to give them some positive memories. And maybe even find some ways to come out a little better when this is all over. And so for us, that was planning activities that kept us safe, kept us isolated so that I could stay safe and alive, but also allowed everybody to have good laughs and memories together.
You touched on a great point. These have been really, really challenging times for all of us. We've all, to some extent, experienced some mental health struggles. And I would love for you to share how you've been able to keep your family's spirits up while being confined indoors.
I think for us, that word being intentional is key. It's easy to kind of get trapped in sitting around watching TV or staying glued on our computers or our iPhones or whatever. But to say, today we're going to get up, we're going to go outside, we're going to go camping in the backyard, or we're going to set up a movie screen out back or take the TV out onto the deck. And just saying today's going to be a different day with a lot of fresh new things and activities. And then, occasionally we would salt and pepper in their activities like running out the beach fork and renting a pontoon boat where we could stay safe, but also do something we don't do every day. And then as we've approached the holidays, we've worked at just sitting down with the kids and putting our calendar down on the floor and letting everybody just pile on and throw out their ideas about things they think would be fun to do. And some of it's been pretty crazy, but it's been worth it.
So can we see this calendar? I would love to see what you all came up with for this month.
Well, I don't know how much of it you can see, and it's probably best that you can't because my handwriting's terrible, but we really did. We took this calendar and we just pulled it off the wall. We went back to our family room. We sat down together and said, all right, so we're heading into Christmas. And the count here is, in terms of cases, is growing. We really have to be careful. And so, with our kids, we've taken the time to talk with them about how serious things are, to point to the fact that there are a lot of families struggling a whole lot worse than we are or could imagine. A lot of loss, a lot of hurt, especially heading into the holidays, whether it be financial or the loss of a loved one or themselves being maybe in the hospital. So with that, we kind of instilled some reverence about the time, but also to say, how do we not dishonor them and dishonor this by just kind of pouting around or staying pinned in and being bored, but let's get creative. So with Christmas, we decided to start about every other day coming up with an activity during December that is different. We had Grinch dinner where we had Who Hash and roast beast. We have a night where we build gingerbread houses where one of us is blindfolded and we're the only one building while everybody has to give instruction. It makes a mess, but it's a great mess, and it's a worthy mess.
You hit on two things that I think would be important to include in this. I know that the
Okay.
age range of your kids varies a good bit. So you said you had 5 kids under your household right now. Can you go through the age breakdown of each of them?
Yeah, sure. So our youngest is 9 years old. Our oldest is 19. And so it's a spectrum. But, I
Yeah.
think with our planning, everything's been kind of geared to family so that everyone feels included. And so it's all kind of age appropriate. I mean, who doesn't love Oreo pancakes? I'm almost 50, and I'll let you know that was an awesome breakfast. Sugar coma
Yeah, I
afterwards, but
bet.
it was a lot of fun. But just, finding ways to make it so that everyone feels included. And again, that takes being intentional and focused in our effort.
So you also mentioned how to talk to your kids, or how you all have been talking to your kids about the pandemic. I would love to hear any advice you may have for other families who are trying to talk to their families about what's going on, or their young children about why they're not in school right now, those sorts of things. Do you have any advice regarding that?
I've got thoughts about how we did it, and I don't know that there's necessarily a perfect way. And maybe that's where it
Right.
starts, is you just have to be willing to say, there is no necessarily right or perfect way, but I'm gonna give it my best. For us, it started with being honest. My injuries came from an old line of duty injury and resulted in some serious lung issues. And so we were able to talk about that without getting too detailed, especially with the younger ones, to let them understand the risk is real. And at the same time, we've got a lot of friends who come from the New York area where they experienced a lot of death, a lot of loss, a lot of joblessness and financial uncertainty. And so staying a little plugged into that and letting them know that uh, our country is hurting as a whole. Uh, Sections of our country are hurting way worse than others, but really talking with the kids about we're the United States of America and we're part of a greater collective body, a greater group. And so while maybe here we don't know folks who've died or maybe struggling at the same level others have, that it exists. But in that, also being very quick to say, we don't dishonor those who've died or the families hurt and struggle by sitting around and making life worse or harder as a family. And the greatest way that we can honor those who struggled and those who are lost is by doing things to build family and to help others. And, that's where we focused our energy. And again, just being very intentional about planning times. And while we've planned a lot of really goofy and fun activities, also looking at and working on ways to help people both in our community and around the country who are hurting. So getting involved in some charities, working together to find the charities that are doing the kind of work that we want to get behind has also been an interesting journey, but well worth it.
I love that. You said that we are the United States, and I think that's such a crucial message for all of us right now, is that we need to be a united front when battling this challenging time together. So I love that. Thank you so much, Thomas, for joining us today and for sharing what you and your family have been doing. I loved hearing those stories and seeing the calendar. It's really encouraging. And I think we all need to be reminded that the situation that we're in right now is not going to be like this forever. We are almost there. There's light at the end of the tunnel. But I would love to hear if you have any additional advice to keep people going as we approach the light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, it's like my kids and actually my wife and I, we all look at each other thinking how much longer, what kind of damage is this doing to our family, ourselves, our children? And those are all really legit. And I'm worried about that. I think that's why we have to be all the more intentional, all the more focused on doing things with our families, because that's our greatest therapy, is spending
Yeah.
time with the people that we love. And so if we can just a little longer hold out, I recognize, and I know, we're close with the vaccine. I don't know all the details, but I know that the end is in sight. And so with my kids, I just keep reminding them the end's in sight. We're going to be having fun with our friends soon in person. But in the meantime, let's go do the Netflix party where they're all on together and watch a movie. or let's continue to do activities that allow us to be safely distant, but mentally connected. And so I think for our family and for my children, the biggest help has been that we've had a plan, and the kids see that and they know that the end is in sight. But I think more importantly, they know that we have a plan to get there and we're controlling our actions. And I think that if we do that, it helps keep everything a little saner, a little more fun, and helps us get to the finish line in one piece.
I think we all would really appreciate, which is seeing what everyone else is doing right now to get through these challenging times. Activities that people may be doing with their families, different activities they may be doing to keep themselves busy in their spare time, hobbies that they may have picked up along the way. So we would love to see that from you all. And you can post something on Facebook or on Instagram and use the hashtag #ApartTogether so that we all can be apart while also being together in this journey and seeing what everybody else is doing to stay sane during these difficult times. I'm so encouraged by this conversation, and I think our community will be as well, because the light at the end of the tunnel is close. We're almost there. We just need to finish out strong together. So thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to talking to you all again soon.